Draw a line to match each of the four numbers to the nearest hundred. So first we have 531. To round to the nearest hundred, we find our hundreds digit, so that's the third digit from the right, and we look at our tens digit. Remember, if it's 4 or less, we round down, and we have a 3, so we're rounding down. That means the 5 in our hundreds stays the same, so that rounds to 500. And that makes sense because 531 is closer to 500 than it is to 600. Now we have 617. So again, we find our hundreds and look at our tens. If it's 4 or less, we round down, and we're rounding down, so the 6 stays the same, which means we have 600. And now 253. This time, when we look at our tens, we have a 5, and if we have 5 or more, we round up. So when we round up, the digit that we've circled increases by 1. So this 2 will become a 3, so that means 253 rounds to 300. It's closer to 300 than it is to 200. And finally, we have 484. We can see that because we have an 8 in our tens, our hundreds digit will need to increase by 1 because we're rounding up. So this 4 will become a 5, which means that 484 rounds to 500. It's closer to 500 than it is to 400. Here are 7 shapes. So we need to find how many of the shapes are octagons and which 2 shapes are hexagons. So we can remember that an octagon is a shape with 8 sides and a hexagon a shape with 6 sides. So let's count the number of sides in each of our shapes. A has 8 sides, B has 4, C has 5, D 6, E 6, F has 4, and G has 5 sides. So that means that only one shape is an octagon, and we want to write 1, not to write the shape number, because the question says how many, so we need to show our answer as a number. But now we have which 2 shapes are hexagons, so we need to give the letter of the shapes. A hexagon is a shape with 6 sides, and we can see that shapes D and E both have 6 sides, so our answer is D and E. A book has 5 stories in it. This is the contents page. Deep Water finishes on page 68, which is the longest story. So our first story, Rocket Ship, starts on page 5, and that must finish on page 17, because that's the page when our next story starts. So to find how many pages, we can work out 17 minus 5, so Rocket Ship is 12 pages long. Now Night Journey starts on page 17 and finishes on page 25, because that's the page when the next story starts. So if we find the difference, 25 minus 17 is 8, so Night Journey is for 8 pages. 17 plus 8 pages will take us to page 25, so take us to the page of the next story. And for Secret Palace, it starts on page 25 and finishes on page 41, so if we find the difference, that's 16 pages. To find how long Jack is, we need to work out 59 minus 41, so that's 18, and we know that Deep Water finishes on page 68, so we can work out 68 minus 59, so that's 9 pages. Now we want to know which is the longest story. So that's Jack, because Jack has 18 pages. Make £1.75. circle each coin you use. So we can start by circling the largest coin that we can use, so that's a £1 coin. But if we circle the other £1 coin, that would take us to £2, but we only want to make £1.75. So next we can circle the 50p coin, and £1 plus 50p is £1.50. Now the other 50p coin would take us to £2, but again that would be too many. So our next largest coin is the 10p coin. So £1 plus 50p is £1.50, plus 10p is £1.60. If we have another 10p coin, that makes £1.70, and then we need the 5p coin to make a total of £1.75. Mina and Annie stand on some scales. They weigh 72 kilograms together. Annie weighs 34 kilograms. How much does Mina weigh? So that will be the difference between what Annie weighs and what they weigh together. So we can find the difference and work out 72 minus 34. That gives us 38. So that means Mina must weigh 38 kilograms. And that makes sense because if we add 38, so add what Mina weighs to 34, so what Annie weighs, we get 72. And we know that they weigh 72 kilograms together. Tom ate 3/9 of the chocolates. Maria ate 2/9 of the chocolates. What fraction of the chocolates is left? So our answer is 4/9, because on a fraction bar we can show the amount that Tom ate, so that's 3/9 in blue, and we can show what Maria ate, so that's 2/9 or 2 parts out of 9 in red. And the fraction left will be 4/9 because we have 4/9 here. So we know that Tom ate 3/9, Maria ate 2/9, and the total of the chocolates will be 9/9, because if we have the same numerator and denominator, we have one whole. So that's all of the chocolates. Now to add fractions, the denominator stays the same. 3 plus 2 is 5, and then we need another 4 to make 9. So that's why our answer is 4/9. Here are some digit cards. We have 2, 4, 6 and 6. Write all the 3-digit numbers greater than 500 that can be made using these cards. One has been done for you. So let's start by making the largest number possible. So we could have 6 in our hundreds, 6 in our tens, and 4 in our ones, so 664. The next largest number we can make is 662. Then we can have 646, 642, and then our next largest number is written for us because that's 626, but we could also have 624. So that's all the numbers that we can make that are greater than 500. So we can't use the 4 or the 2 as our hundreds digit, because if we do that, we'll make numbers that are less than, not greater than 500. Nisha says, when you halve any even number, the answer is always an odd number. Is she correct? Explain how you know. So remember, to halve a number means to find half, or to divide by 2. So Nisha is wrong, and when they're wrong, what we can do is give an example. So 8 is an even number, but half of 8 is 4, which is even, not odd. So that's why Nisha is wrong. It's true that sometimes when you halve an even number, the answer will be an odd number. So if you have the number 6, that's an even number, and half of 6 is 3, which is odd, but Nisha says the answer is always an odd number. And we know that this is not always true, because 8 is even, but half of 8 is 4, and that is not an odd number. There are 45 people on a coach. 17 people get off. How many people are left on the coach? So, if 17 have got off, there will be 17 fewer people. So we can work out 45 minus 17, and that gives us 28 people as our answer. 3/8 of a class are boys. What fraction of the class are girls? So our answer is 5/8, because on a fraction bar we can show 3/8 as 3 parts out of 8. So we have 3/8 in blue to represent the fraction that are boys, and that means the girls will be these 5/8 here. Remember, all the children in the class will be 8/8, so the whole of the class, and when we're adding fractions, the denominator stays the same, and because 3 plus 5 is 8, we know that 5/8 of the class must be girls.